So yesterday I did a video talking about the idea of Blumhouse making their own dark universe, because God knows Universal I don't think could ever do that themselves. So the closest we've gotten is a very well received theme park, and some future Universal monster movies, some of them done by Blumhouse. Hopefully they all won't be like the Wolf. They'll be less Wolfman and more Invisible Man with the Mummy. Anyway, so yesterday I did do a video talking about how what I'd like to see, and again, this video, the idea of a Blumhouse Dark Universe is really stupid because it wouldn't work, but it's just all fun jokes, because again, I've said this before that Blumhouse really does feel like late stage Hammer horror, where Hammer was churning out a lot of films, and some of them in this time period. Some of them were good. A lot of them some were underrated classics, and others were just really bad, really shock value kind of films that didn't pan critically. And the only thing that was getting back was financially. But eventually that money dried up because everyone was starting to get the picture here. So Blumhouse really does kind of mirror this era of Blumhouse really does mirror that whole thing of Hammer. But I thought it'd be kind of fun, what if Blumhouse decided, fuck it, we'll make our own shared universe of certain characters. So that was kind of the idea. And I thought I'd come back to this video, because I thought I was done, but I was like, you know what? I still want to play with this idea for at least a second part. So here we are with the second part of this video. So in the previous video, I talked about what properties would I want and not want in this scenario. Now, the ones I wouldn't have are the really bad movies. Again, the core of this is that it's a lot of films that are kind of that you could see in the Blumhouse wheelhouse, and what was marketable enough to make as a mainstay shared universe. And while they did make money, they were really awful. So Night Swim's out, Imaginary's out. The pool movie, was it Night Swim? That fucking movie's out. Woman in the Yard, that's out. So those movies would not be included. But I would have probably references to them, like Chauncey the Bear and shit like that. Anyway, so the core of these movies, the main ones would be in this hypothetical scenario, at least in what I do consider phase one, are Megan. And I swear we'll have a reason for all this behind it in a minute. Insidious, Paranormal Activity. That's the other one I decided to add in this go-round. Five Nights at Freddy's, which realistically probably wouldn't happen because, I don't think Scott Cawthon is going to work. It's apparently word on the street is he's incredibly difficult to work with. That's why it's been so long. Even at Halloween Horror Nights, again, the working rumor is Five Nights is coming to Halloween Horror Nights finally, but it was so goddamn impossible to work with Scott on the movie, as well as Halloween Horror Nights allegedly, and again with Dead by Daylight. It took so long to get Springtrap in there. But for this hypothetical scenario, let's say FNAF is part of this universe, and like I said, Insidious, that's the other big one, and Oculus, that's going to be referenced. But the core ones are, like I said, Megan, FNAF, Sinister, and Paranormal Activity. But the one that's going to be the one property in this hypothetical situation that's tying this all together is Sinister, the creature, the demon known as Bagul, the demon god known as Bagul. Essentially, in this idea, this would center around how we all tie into one shared dark universe, Blumhouse dark universe. The main focus would be a secret organization that has been made to combat Bagul. Essentially, have it that Bagul has been working his will through, it's basically an organization that combats Bagul. And it's been around for centuries. And original members were made of the people of family members who lost their chunks of their family to Bagul's will and consuming their children. And the organization is kind of formed differently, has formed into a massive secret organization that is designed to capture and contain anything that would be considered working through Bagul's will. Bagul is a god. Like, remember that. He is like this, in the continuity, he's kind of like this Babylonian, Sumerian god-like creature. So essentially, a lot of these creatures, these other entities are like, are almost considered not, I wouldn't say avatars, that's the wrong word. They're not really like avatars, they're more like Bagul's kind of like puppeteering the whole thing, because they indirectly or directly kill in his name. Because really, in a lot of Blumhouse movies, I really want you to think on this, what is the main thing that a lot of these properties I mentioned, what do they terrorize the most? Or what do they, traumatize or go after first and foremost, more so even than adults? It's children, and Bagul eats children. So Bagul is basically our tie-in, and this organization is dedicated to capturing and containing anything that would be considered possibly connected to him. So that's the story, is that we follow this organization as they're like monitoring and capturing any object or creature that would be, directly or indirectly connected to Bagul. And I would also add that Bagul, his realm, is in the Further. Like, that's how we taught, because originally, if Sinister 2, and I can't confirm this, but apparently there was an idea, to quote Nick Fury, that Sinister and Insidious were actually going to cross over. But Sinister 2 was so bad, they put the kibosh on it. So, in this shared continuity, we're going to take that idea and have it that Bagul is actually, he has a realm in the Further. I wouldn't say he like rules the Further, because I don't like the idea of that. I like the Further being just kind of like this wasteland that can be whatever it wants. So the Further is, but I would have it that the Further is so massive that Bagul is basically carved out a big chunk of the Further as like not ruler, but like he's basically carved out his own territory to take over. He doesn't rule all the Further, but he does have like a big territory within this endless void for himself. And all the other, basically going into the Further, like the deeper you go, the more chance you go into his realm. So, again, this would follow this organization, and originally I said this would also tie into Invisible Man, the Blumhouse, the Lee Wanell remake. And I kind of didn't, I thought of that idea, and that was kind of spur of the moment. I was like, it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. Maybe have it that, like, she's this organization, like, suspected that Bagul was kind of like, it was maybe like some demon, but then they realized, oh, it's just some jackass rich incel who's terrorizing his girlfriend. That sucks, but that's not really Bagul's thing, so we're going to move on. Same thing with, like, maybe make a mention to Wolfman, where they have notes of, like, creature in forest connection, demon connection, unknown, maybe just virus. And I would even have, like, again, there's references to all the other Blumhouse connections. Like the mirror from Oculus is locked up among their prisons. Like the mirror itself is always considered an entity, so they have the mirror from Oculus. They have like maybe have like a cute, fun little thing of like maybe if you were like the three people who liked Imaginary, maybe have like Chauncey the teddy bear sitting in a corner of a cell, something like that. Now, would I include any of Jordan Peele's Blumhouse work, like Get Out or Us? I would say no, because Get Out could work. Us and Nope, I don't think Nope actually was a Blumhouse production or co-production, but I would say I would keep Jordan Peele's films outside of this, not even reference them, because I feel like Jordan Peele's better than a shared universe. Jordan Peele movies are better than a shared universe, and this whole thing is just meant to be a gag. Like I said in the previous video, if you at all point think I'm being serious about this, you don't know me at all. Yeah, this is like the epitome of dumb, and I'm just doing this for fun. And so yeah, we're keeping Jordan Peele's movies pure, and not doing that. Same with a few other films that were up, that are big enough to carry on their own. So yeah, again, like I said, this organization would go out and probably I would even have it like they've been in the background monitoring things. Like when Megan went rogue, they were like, oh, was it like faulty programming or was it Bagul? I don't even have like other characters be like, not everything ties to Bagul, right? Like maybe it's just bad people, and they're like, yeah, we know. We're not dumb. We don't think everything, I know this sounds all conspiracy theory, but the point of it is Bagul's a god, so he can work his influence through anything, whether it be demon, ghost, machine. So we have to everything has to be we have to monitor it and see if there's any connection there. So a god can do whatever he wants, and they do acknowledge that some things just aren't connected to him, so we don't bother with it. That's the thing, is they would the reason why they took the Oculus mirror and put it away is because we highly suspect it's connected to that. Same with the Ouija board from Ouija. It is connected to ghosts, and there's a story there, but again, they basically say hey, a lot of those ghosts that they were actually from the further that they were contacting, and that's in Bagul's realm, so we're not going to let him try to use the Ouija board. So they have the Ouija board locked up from, again, the Ouija movies. And those movies, that first movie sucked, but the second one, the prequel, is actually pretty solid. I actually like Origin of Evil. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So that would be the thing. They would monitor Megan and maybe even say well, was she a self-evolving android that was built before her creators just didn't understand what they were building? Possibly. Or it's maybe Bagul was whispering in their ear because it's connected to children. There's that kind of fear, right? So that's how it would be. It's just kind of a series connecting to either capture and contain certain monsters or certain elements or objects. So that's kind of how it goes. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? Comment below, let me know. And how would you do a Blumhouse Dark Universe, and what properties would you have in it? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.